To work with dementia residents and dementia units, you need to enjoy working with and working for elderly people. Most residents that are admitted into dementia units are generally in their early 80s, most being women with Alzheimer's. So if you want to work as a diversional therapist or activity coordinator, few requirements. It does help if you've had a medical background. It certainly helps if you've had a teaching background. You do need stamina, emotional and physical, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you have an interest in the dementia residents and the work, an interest in the work and an interest in their ability to learn. If you have all this in place, then you'll make a great diversional therapist, activity coordinator, and you'll enjoy it. It's very much a win-win situation in dementia units. Once you get to engage with the residents, you get that feedback, and it's a really positive experience for all at the end of the day, as I found. But it does take discipline. It does take effort, energy, enthusiasm, time, patience, all of that. I mean, it's not an instant thing at all. Getting a response from a dementia residence initially, especially if the group is very shut down, really takes quite a while. But once you start getting the engagement and the response, then you can work with that. The group inspires each other, and then it moves forward from there. Now, in terms of having an interest in the work and the residents' learning, now it can be self-assisted learning, or assisted learning, or self-generated learning. Self-generated learning is just that, self-generated. So, for example, dementia residents that come in, many women, many school teachers love quizzes and crosswords. Now that's self-generated learning, because if someone's done crosswords and quizzes all their life and then they continue to do that as they come into the dementia unit, they can keep generating that learning and cognition through the crosswords and quizzes. It's fantastic. And then the quiz shows, the chaser that the residents love here in New Zealand, then they can keep that going, because the thing is to keep the cognition going, to keep that generated learning going, you need lots of new information and input and stimulus. So lots of reading, lots of material, lots of books, lots of good shows on Netflix and the smart TV, etc. Okay, now assisted learning, of course, is the workshops themselves, the activities themselves, where the activity coordinator, the diversional therapist, is promoting the learning through all the activities, of which there are many in a dementia unit. Now, self-generated learning, I've just spoke about this yesterday in part, a remarkable experience of this. Actually, I've only realised how momentous till recently. I was going through some notes actually, and this wonderful woman used to speak Shakespeare all day long. That was her way of speaking. Shakespeare, poets, the works. She knew vast range of poetry, and she would go around the unit chattering away, well, actually not chattering, reciting this beautiful poetry. And she had a lovely voice, very quiet, well manicured lady. So you really did have to sort of listen out for it. But what she said was so impacting. And at one of the workshops that we had, many of them were on positive thinking and confidence building. And this one particular workshop one of the first workshops that really made me realise that cognition was there with the dementia residents and they could think through the intellect, was the quote from Hamlet: "Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so." So I put this up on the whiteboard and we were discussing it, and the residents had decided that positive thinking was the way to go. And this little lady who loved her poetry said, yes, she said, you can think yourself into it. Now, when she said that, and she did say it on many other occasions as well at the workshops, you can think yourself into it. I thought that she was quoting Shakespeare or another poet or something. I mean, I didn't think she'd actually come up with that herself. I mean, it's a very insightful statement. Shakespeare saying, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And equally, and more essentially, she said, you can think yourself into it. Now, for someone with dementia to come up with that is pretty amazing cognition. And I just thought I wished I'd actually listened to her a bit more, but she had such a quiet voice. You know, you sort of had to be right near her to listen, and I should have really paid more attention, because that really is amazing. Anyway, this wonderful woman, as all the residents are wonderful in all their efforts. So I've written up this information, both books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise. Good reading, positive reading, intentionally positive. So please subscribe. Thank you for your views.